Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Creatives Chat. Peter, why don't you tell our viewers who we have lined up for our chat today?
Ooh, Rusty, we have a conscious creator who brings his unique sound and master lyricism and that light of self-mastery to the people. He has a new album, Negro Homo, that just dropped. I'm super excited to bring Ty Keenen on a Creatives Chat today.
All right, everybody, join us as we dive deep into the creative flow.
Streaming from Retro Earth Studio and brought to you by
wearehistorically.com, conscious human apparel, and
learn to play jazz piano like a pro, by a pro, with Jazz Piano Pro Essentials at jazzpianopro.com.
With that, let's begin our show.
Oh, man, Ty, thank you so much for coming on Creatives Chat. How are you doing, yo?
I'm blessed to be alive, trying to stay grounded.
I love it. I love it. And it's, just for the listeners, so they understand, Ty Keenen, in my eyes, is a legend, right? Because we're doing the Community Through Unity event. You gotta hear the story, folks. Because we're doing the Community Through Unity event. Our opener backed out. We had delays with people's traffic, and out of nowhere, this guy Ty just comes up and is like, "I'll perform," and then just comes out and just crushes it for the opening set. And not only was, I think, for the most part, taken back by just like the lyricism, I was like, the entire actual production of the album that you're performing was dope. So let's just jump right into that. What were you performing and what new album do you have out now?
New album is titled Negro Homo, and it's an 18-track album that involves so many other people. And it was an album that it was a huge learning experience, first of all. And but what's really exceptional about it is that it's a really tight collaboration between me and my husband and slash partner, mentor, manager. It's nice working with somebody who you can trust that they're on your team, and also they have something to offer that really complements what your strengths are. And so 18 tracks involve so many different friends and family and talented artists, and I produced it, along with Jose's direction and family and friends who I played it off of. But without getting too far into it, Negro Homo is a new album. It's an 18-track, very polished, very clean, like alternative rap album. There's a lot of jazz elements, a lot of folk elements, a lot of R&B, a lot of it's just good feels. But it's rooted in hip-hop, and like you were saying, how when we first met, that moment to me was very hip-hop, like music in the park, was very hip-hop. Like, we had just completed like a yoga and meditation session, which that was my first time being a part of, and to meet you that way, Mr. Peter, was an amazing experience. But hip hop very much is in the park, and very much just you pop up and bam, what do you got? What can you give to the people at the cookout or whatever? And so that's the album, and I was proud that day to be able to be capable and have my microphone and my speaker, and to have beautiful people who were there ready to receive it. So
well, dude, it was such a gift, and I think that's the dopest thing, where you can tell the real musicianship and just the art of the craft when you can come out there and just like impromptu bust a set as a little pop-up set. Fire. It was so lit. Everyone was just like, wait, what? It was such a gracious gift. But that's one of the things that I really do just want to say, the album is fire. It's legit. And I think one of the things that the moment I finished it, it had that nostalgia like the entire time. Like I was just like that early Kanye, like that, because it was so unique with the interludes and just the way things were woven together. And ever since I heard the track No Right Way, I've been meaning to ask you, what was the dream that changed the vision that turned the man into a king, yo? Like,
wait, it turned the what?
So the line specifically is, You had a dream that changed
Oh,
everything.
into a king.
You're no longer
See
a man, you're a
myself as a
king.
king. That's a really the specific vision. That song. So that song, like on the production side, it was sent to me by the singer Katya Devita, who I was busking at the Pike Place Market and with my saxophone. And one day she comes up to me and it's like, who are you? Like, wow, like, and it turns out she's a tour guide there. So I was kind of like, more so on her territory. Like, where'd you come from? I'm here all the time. And she sent me the vocal recording just with snaps. No, and I didn't know at the time that was a cover song. I had never heard of Hozier and didn't know the Something New track. And so it's actually like, a rendition of a popular song that millions of people know. I didn't know. The vision of the dream, I was a king, is kind of really allowing yourself to accept what you deserve. Some people a lot of times reject their blessings because they don't feel deserving enough to be, say, the king or chosen one, or what makes me so special, all the critiques and everything that society offers out to make you homogenized and to fit in. It gets to people. And so for me, that was me expressing that I am someone who I've realized that I am exceptional. I've realized I'm extraordinary. I've realized. So it's that line just kind of speaks to the realization of knowing self and seeing the real uniqueness and the importance that you have never been here before. There has never been another you, and there never will be again. And so that's what that line speaks to.
Yes, yo, I was wondering. So the thing that really stands out the most is self-aware lyricism, writing with intention, and it's really evident just in terms of the emotion that everything evokes throughout. I mean, what was the specific one? Like the Message, Red Line, those ones to me were always the ones that like you can just feel the punch in the heart right through the song.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's a great talent. And I think that's one of the things is, when did you really get into writing as an expression, in terms of the poetry? Because that's definitely the way I see it when it's heard.
Yeah, it's my first instrument. It's how I began a relationship with music that was expressive. It was coming from within, and lyric, the word, was my relationship. That's how me and music began to coming out of me, be able to express as a tool. I grew up playing sports. I was an athlete as a kid, hopping the bus, AAU teams, and traveling around the city, tryouts, and like two-a-days. Like I really was competitive in sports. That was how I expressed myself. That I really enjoyed also being on a team and working with other people and supporting, encouraging, inspiring, and being a part of a bigger picture as an individual. That always meant something to me that was really special. And when I was 21, I was playing for a minor league football team and as wide receiver, and I tore my ACL. And after the injury, the procedure left my leg infected, and I was in the hospital for a week. And on the second day, my mother gave me a blank journal and a pen. And this was in 2010, and that was a huge turning point in my, human experience as a spiritual being, as a way of really allowing my power to resonate and have the opportunity to reach others, and so that was a big shift. I understood. I go, oh wow, well my body is delicate. I have fragile like tendons, and I used to get injured a lot. My physical body is not as tough. It's not meant to endure. But then I later learned, I'm a projector type energy, human design. Oh, that's why I don't have sacral or defined heart, like I'm going to get damaged. So that's but so I realized that in the power of my words were actually my greatest strength. And since that that week, that moment in 2010, it falls shortly with being invited by a roommate who was a DJ and used to make beats, and we were out at Eastern, which is like a small town where I went to college. He was like, "Yo, write some raps on this beat, whatever. We ain't got shit else to do. It's summertime. It's like dead here, And that's how it started. And it was like, oh, okay. So I wrote 2 raps that day and recorded, and I was like, oh, that's good, but I could actually do better. Like, let me come back tomorrow or whatever, and we can do it. And so that's just kind of how, like, actuality in material world, it actually began to develop and me see the potential.
Well, there was a lot in that, and I just want to dive right into it because you brought it up. So when it comes into this, this human experience that we have, in bringing in that consciousness, just that objective observer aspect to it, you have a unique perspective just with how you're approaching music itself. And I think that's one of the cool creative things. And it's like, you've harnessed that unique window of awareness that you have. And I think that's the one thing that always kind of leaves me taken back when I encounter musicians and creatives that have always kind of tapped into themselves in that inner looking.
Yeah.
And that process of like athlete to just like things ending in that light and just transitioning into like the creative spirit.
Yeah, right.
How is that shift?
You can call yourself a basketball player and people go, "You're tall." Okay, cool. They're cool with that. You can say you are, a football player and people go, "Oh, wow, tough game, be safe." And that's that, right? You declare yourself an artist and people feel some type of way about that. They have a the word ephemeral comes to mind, like a very tangible, like emotional, like thing happens to them where they're almost challenged in their human experience of what they have to offer or what they can create as creators, and it reveals, kind of forces people to take a stance with their human experience. Like, people will go, "Oh, I wish I could, but I'm not creative." They go that route where they express their insecurities and their wishes or whatever. Or people will go the route of like, comparing you automatically. You're in, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Lady Gaga, rapper land.
Yeah.
Now they're like comparing you to, and they go, "I hope you make it. Good luck." And you're like, "Make it? Like what? Into your dreams? Like what are you hoping I'm making? I don't know. I don't get it." So you get it, you're projected. I think was, to me, the thing that when I look back as to when that clicked in my head, and then I went to put it into words and communicate and navigate the world.
Yeah.
Family, friends, and it was really awkward, and I kind of resented what I felt people were projecting onto me about what it is that I was seeking. Fame, famous, hope you make it, go big, that's rich, you want to be rich, these kinds of things. People will project onto me, rapper, language. It's like, I really didn't want none of that was coming along with it. And then over time, I just like, whatever, just let people say what they're going to say. Yeah, thank you. You just say thank you when they say, "Hope you make it," these kinds of things. You just learn to like, whatever, like those are the things that matter, actually,
Right.
So that's just a little insight into like what that transition was like to me. Then you again, you have the people who sometimes they're closest to you. What makes you think that you are so special? You can just declare yourself an artist, and what comes out of your mind is, people are going to pay attention and care. And what makes you think that who told you can do that? What school did you go to be an artist? You got the authorized, indoctrinated, minds that they're looking for authority outside. But when you declare that authority yourself, it challenges people, man. It challenges people. People get challenged. So I play it low key. I'm modest with how I move, because envy is real, and people who see that you are who people think you are, and so it kind of, it's a different thing. When becoming an artist versus an athlete, people go, oh yeah, cool, you can run fast, good job, you got a number, we can dial you in. But when they can't call your number and you're an artist, what genre, what kind of it challenges people. So then you're forced to separate yourself from that perspective of how people perceive you.
Well, it's very interesting though, because the sense that really stood out to me was when you have your own inner authority and you recognize that, and you give your own self the respect, the love to express your beingness, that's what hits different. Because anytime you're genuine, it always naturally, I almost think of it, you like radiate your light, right? But it turns as like a mirror to those that aren't kind of up on that level. So it's just their own projections just coming back at themselves, and their own like whatever it is that's nasty within them is just getting revealed. And it's hilarious to me, because it's like, okay, so it just comes about by people being happy and doing what they want to do and going through that journey of creation and expression. Like what, and that's why it's so funny when they come to all these different rationales of like why someone would do it. It's just like, no, like I think being a smiley, nice person is always the number one attack too. Cause like, why are you so happy? Why are you smiley? Why is this? I'm like, I don't have an answer for you logically. Like,
a lot, right?
Yeah, just like, why would I be like up down here, like frowning and be all upset about everything? Like, come on. It takes energy to do this stuff.
I can see why people would get at you about that. Like, they just feel some type of way, like, wait, am I missing something? Like, right. And they can't figure it out, but you're just living your true self. Like, it's not hard when you're just, living your true self. They, and they're trying to like reach outside of themselves to,
Well, it's that era of authenticity. And I think that's what's kind of coming into this new wave of like consciousness in our experience. And like the kind of collective is really coming back to this point of valuing themselves again. And because I think one of the biggest things is, we've been seeing, especially with like the lockdowns, pandemic, all this crazy ish, we've seen like celebrity culture fall. To me, I think pretty drastically compared to like what has been like the idolization of like the golden bull, throughout history before, where most people, like you think of like the numbers that have dropped, a lot of people don't really care about the mainstream. It's all gone back to like that local indie vibe, that, that community vibe. And I think that's the thing that's going to be really fascinating, is once more people kind of awaken into this unique being that they are, like life can be pretty dope. I just think about even the CTU, we just had a few creatives together, and that was dope. Like imagine when we can get just like hundreds of creatives together that are all intention based, that are all on that wavelength. That's the stuff for the future where I'm like, yo, like we'll make it happen.
Yeah, the machine of it all is getting really rusty, and it's not, the gears aren't moving like they was. Yeah, I agree.
I like that. And it's not every day, you run into someone who's like about human design. I think that's another thing, just low key. Most people don't know it, yo. I got to thank Rusty for pointing me onto human design. And
thank you, Rusty, for putting Peter on human design. For me, it was Daniel Blue, who's a singer of the band Moto Punny, who is, he now lives in New Mexico, but since I was exposed to that, which I had kind of seen a couple body graph charts, in passing or whatever, just the past couple years, but it was about a year and a half ago, and I completely just like dove into it. And that's kind of like my personality. I have like, once something really intrigues me, I get like obsessive about it. Like whether, and it's happened with like all instruments, like piano, guitar, drums, sax, like I get really obsessive about it. And I like, study the history and who, 1947 this in Pittsburgh and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so it was like that with human design and studying Ra Uruhu and, just what the information, what it means, why, who am I? And then very quickly it went into, well, what's my mom's human design? Well, what's my brother's human design? Well, what's Jose's human design? Hey, do you know when you were born? So I got about like 15 charts of my closest family and friends.
Wow.
And I study, and I, from time to time, offer free advice, because my gate of opinions, what I'm saying, that's like in my sun sign. So I'm just constantly like giving out my opinion. But within that, I learned the greatest lesson I learned from human design as a projector is I need to be invited.
Yeah.
And so that was
question.
That was my big realization with, diving into human design and who am I and how not to sabotage myself or become bitter based on not being invited and offering advice that nobody cares about because they didn't ask.
Right. I've been there.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's funny because I think that's the stuff where you look at, like the fundamentals of astrology, you look at human design, you look at numerology, and it's amazing to me how these tools can give us that strategy guide and blueprint for life, and once we really learned it, then we can transcend all these different aspects. And then it's just like dance your dance, Joe, have fun,
Right.
But
yeah,
because you got to level up with it. And I think that's the stuff, because I'm a generator, and I'm one of those weird ones. I'm a 6'3" profile. So it's just like, I'm here to fuck shit up, like, and like and dance the dance, and really just like, show people the way of like how to really be in the flow and like really dance with the chaos.
Demonstrate,
yeah. And it's the, cross of upheaval. So it's like really meant to get in there and mess it, like change the game. And I think that's the stuff where these tools are getting unlocked with more and more conscious thinkers, because I think we're the ones that are really leading the wave for these next generations. By us just being ourselves, we're the ones that are really showing them that it's like, yeah, there's a lot more than just the physical here. We're like tapped into the intangible, and with your ability to kind of like be one pointed about stuff, I'm really fascinated how your spiritual like inner looking and inquiry like got you into all of this. Like, looking into who I am, that's a deep question.
When you say all of this, are you speaking of in terms of human design?
Your conscious journey, human, like in, because one doesn't look into or be fascinated by human design until they recognize the realness of it. You're like, oh, that hits
different. You're right. I guess you're right. So I owned an illustrated I Ching book before I studied human design. So nice. In that way, it really allowed me to, that was kind of me, already kind of taking apart and considering, how energy moves and how seasons fluctuate and, different times for different, and that spawned from taking a Chinese philosophy class in college. And I was just studying in the philosophy department. My final 2 years at university was dedicated to around philosophy. And that's how I really was able to put my strengths to purpose in an academic institution. I was studying philosophy, and that really allowed me to see like, oh, I get it. Like, this is how you have a, intellectual conversation and disagree and still continue without it, coming to frustrated emotional terms to where somebody wants to fight, challenging people's beliefs. Like, I had always been the kid in my family to where people would say, Tyrell, you're such a smart ass. You always have something to say back, or you always, And in the human design perspective, it's because as a projector, I'm taking in all of these different angles. I'm really sensitive to like other people's human experience and how their opinion would differ from this people over here's opinion, or from my opinion, or from the person I'm talking to. I go, well, what about this? And when I offer a different perspective. It's not necessarily even mine. I'm just kind of, I guess, sometimes playing the devil's advocate, but it's not the devil's advocate. It's just the human experience advocate. Like, people are living different human experiences, as different energies. And so, but then, studying philosophy, I understood that there was room to disagree and continue the conversation, and also be, kind of collaborative in your disagreement to moving and challenging beliefs and knowledge, so yeah, that led me into Chinese philosophy, studying the Tao, studying Lao Tzu, no way be way, just kind of like really opening that whole, which was my favorite philosophy, was Eastern philosophy. The Zen meditation, and it's just, it really resonated with me. Doing nothing is, something. Like, you're not just doing nothing. And then that goes to my gate 20 of contemplation in my human design. Like, I spend a lot of time just wondering and contemplating and just thinking, Tyrell, you're overthinking it. I can't tell you how many times people tell me that. I mean, all the time people tell me I'm overthinking. You're overthinking it. It's not that hard. Just write a be happy song. Like, you're overthinking it, You're just so yeah, human design kind of, that's how I was prepared for it, I guess, In my late college years, in an academic situation, I found philosophy that was legitimate. I'm not just overthinking. Like, here are all these great people that we admire as philosophers, and they were just overthinking it, like, whatever. They weren't overthinking it. They were just contemplating, what people had thought or said, or what the possibilities were, or these theories, and I really enjoyed this. So I guess that was kind of, you can draw a dot between philosophy in college to the I Ching book to human design.
I love it. That's a wild transition. And I guess the thing that always stands out, though, is, and it completely makes sense. Like, to me, this conversation thus far has already validated, like, everything about the vibe that I already observed was just like, okay, yeah, this makes total sense now. Because it comes back to that standpoint of, when you come to recognize yourself, you navigate, which is like the easiest for your heart. And it's that path of least resistance. And I think that's one of the things that I can even see, just, the kind nature. And, it's like, as there always is a fire to each being, but it's just like the kind of mellow centeredness. That's the thing that was always kind of like, this guy moves different. I need to talk with him. Like, I'm curious. Like, so that's the stuff where it's, when you really are emulating that genuine truth, it's effortless. And that's the cool thing about, those who have come to really recognize their own inner authority and navigate this experience. It's just like, there's just a vibe. And it sounds super cliche, but it's just that subtle energy that it's just, they're radiating their own beingness. They're not like trying to consume it from others. And that's a huge one.
I got something to say about that, because when you said the word effortless, that is really something that, just for people out there, listening or watching, I want to give them the space to confidently move effortlessly. People think that it needs to be a struggle. People feel like the work, it has to be hitting your head against the wall, or success isn't real success if it wasn't, overcome by obstacles and perseverance and tenacity. Like there's moments in life to where you're offered challenges or lessons that you need to learn that require you to dig deep and shed, layers of your skin and parts of yourself, and, come out a holy that's okay, that's real. Like, but that's not always the situation. And I was really reaffirmed with this when I spoke with my uncle from St. Louis, who I hadn't met. I wasn't close with my real father's family growing up, but they're all from St. Louis.
Mm.
And I found out this last year I have an uncle who plays the saxophone and the piano, and he's a DJ. Like, and it was like,
Nice.
wow, I didn't know that. Like, that's amazing, you know. And he pointed out to me, he goes, the times where everything just seems to be like falling into place perfectly, and things are just happening the way you saw them happening, and it almost feels like it's not real. Just go with it. And I was like, wow, yeah, that happens. Like, I can remember so many times in my life growing up where it would freak me out. I would get like shook when things were happening so easily,
Wow.
and like just perfect timing after perfect timing for like a week or something like that. Like, it would freak me out. I would like get like scared of it and like mess it up, knock the cards over or something like
Right.
that, right?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
do that. Just go with it. Be your true self. You are in alignment with, why you're here, who you were supposed to be. Things are as they should be, and allow that space for yourself to move in accordance to, you're just riding a wave. Just that's
Yeah.
it. That's the beauty of it.
Ooh. And don't get in your own way. I love the self-sabotage highlight because it's so true. I feel like that's the thing is when life gives us such gracious gifts, it can be overwhelming. And I think that's the play of divine timing that is just always so fascinating to me because again, it's just like you couldn't write better quality plot lines than
Yeah,
some of the things that have happened to people in life. Like I know myself and like I'm sure you got a few of those ones where you're
yeah,
like, what are the trillions of chances that this path crossed at that exact moment, for this for like the conversation, for an experience, for anything to go down. Like it blows my mind every time. And I'm like, dude, life is dope. Life is so dope.
yeah. Give it its credit, man. Yeah, give the credit where it's due. It's not you, so you can't mess it up because you didn't get it going. Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that's, I'm curious in your thoughts of this, of how life rewards you when you just put yourself out there. And I think there's nothing greater than just putting yourself out there and performing your music and really and sharing that vulnerable aspect of yourself with others. I'm sure that's brought about wild experiences. I mean, you already mentioned one of meeting the singer where it's like, what else has been really some, blessings through that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm. Well, I first started playing outside, kind of out of necessity, not really having a place to play. I think at that time I had stopped renting out my studio. I had a studio in Mukilteo for like 2 years,
Oh,
um,
nice.
but I didn't have my studio anymore. And it was after I graduated college, which is like an amazing time because now you have all this time on your hands, and I knew exactly what I want to do with my life, and um, and also so I just needed a place to go to play, and I needed people to share it with, and so I
Yeah.
started going outside and exploring what busking is, what it is to be a
Mm.
musician, and
Mm.
and be playing music where nobody asked you, nobody invited you. You have to invite yourself. You have to, like, under your own will, decide that this is you can claim this space,
Yeah.
and also claim your uniqueness and your honesty, and let your light like shine, not to be cliche to the song, shine your light. But it's real. It's like, it's kind of like a mantra I've been living by for the past 10 years is, shine your light, letting your light shine.
Mm.
And I realized how rewarding it is to go outside because, again, nobody asked you to be out there. A lot of people didn't know you were going to be there. And it's such a beautiful thing then to have people come up to you and completely be gracious and thankful that you are alive and you were outside and made your gift or your journey available to them.
Mm.
Um, and it's kind of surprising sometimes, but I think that's a big thing, uh, why I play outside, is to have those experiences, to make myself available to people, and
Hmm.
not to mention it's a responsibility. people think that, yeah, here I go. People think that, we'll say it like this. Your favorite musician still thinks they need to practice. Like, how many times have you heard like these like crazy talented, brother, let's just say musicians, and you're like, why are you practicing after the show? Like, you hear, Sonny Rollins is still playing after 2 hour set, and he's still practicing this line in his dressing room because he, didn't think he played it well enough or something like this. But like, you're playing at Montreux Jazz Festival, like, what are you practicing? But the point is that we never think we're good enough. We're there yet, that but I'm gonna get better. Or, tomorrow I'll be better than I was today, and all these kinds of things. Your responsibility is to share your journey. And I realized that at some point, while learning to play instruments, learning to play, music, and just studying, that all that time in your room by yourself as a musician, that you're isolating yourself to practice, you have a responsibility to share that, and it comes back to like neighbors of the apartment complex. When you see them outside, they go, "Oh, I always like it when I hear your horn," and you're like, what? Like, to me, it's terrible. Like, I just barely started playing. I can't even finish a whole minor scale, and you are thanking me because, so you just, I was just reminded so many times that it's really the journey that is, and it's a responsibility. You're given this opportunity. I have two hands, I have lungs, I have a will, a drive, a vision, a dream, and it would be very selfish to isolate and hold all of that time and space just to me, and say it's not there yet. You can't have it. Dinner's not ready yet. No, put it on the table. You know what I'm saying? Put the dish on the table. You had it in the oven. You was, making it. You did the recipe. You studied. Set the dish on the table. So that's kind of what I kind of got into a rhythm of that. And I would go to Folk Life and Hempfest and by Seattle, and anything that was an event. Parade, Pride Fest. Anything that was an event around Seattle, I would show up with my guitar, my electric guitar, my loop pedal, or then when I started playing alto with my saxophone, and I would, find a space. And right around this time also, 2015, 2016, was when I met Jose. Oh, wow. And we met at La Batea Youth Home, which is part of United Indians of All Tribes Foundation, which that is the building at Discovery Park, the Cultural Center at Discovery Park. And he was putting on an art show and put out, kind of like a word of mouth. I'm looking for a musician to come play music. And so I showed up, and we kind of like I was just blown away by his knowledge of history and art, and mostly just like his confidence as an artist. He has a defined heart chakra, so that's what it was. Our human design is completely the same, but we're both 4-6 projectors, but he has a defined heart chakra. So his will was like something that really was like, wow. And it was so grounded within art history, and different mediums. And no, I am an artist. This is what you do, and that really was. And so he would come out to me, and as a visual artist, he studied film, and he would suggest where I should stand when I'm busking out in the city, depending on where people are, where the lighting is. He would say stuff like, no, stand next to that tree because it's taller and it's more proportionate. You know what I'm saying?
You're like all right.
Things and I would just totally just be in the scene and allow him to put me in the, in the shot where it made sense, as far as, okay, the water's over there. We have, sound over there, cars are over there, people are walking by over here, the grass is right, And that was like a huge learning experience of kind of learning how to, be effective in what I was doing and going outside and presenting music, and trusting someone who has your back. There's a difference between people giving you opinions and advice who, they don't know, they haven't done it, or B, they're not on your side and on your team,
Yeah, it's
And
their
so
way how to do things. It's their idea how to do it. Not
they seen it on TV. They heard some judge on American Idol say this or what. So it's when somebody has the knowledge and they're on your team, know the difference. And so meeting Jose and us becoming family was me realizing that and kind of surrendering to the universe, bringing somebody into my life that could provide nutrition. That's very much his human design, is to nurture and to trust someone who's on your team, to know the difference between somebody who's on your team and someone who's not,
Yeah.
And,
Sincerity.
and so that it just helped to really crystallize the experience of going outside to be in better positions. And then I kind of gained my own taste and judgment of where to stand based on, doing that for about a year with him. The lighting's over here. There's a shadow coming. It's this time. It's 5:30, so the sun's going to go that way. The building.
Wow.
And and it was amazing. And then fast forward to this last summer, having an album that I am promoting and standing behind, and pushing and like being really proud of it, really kind of just like leveled up the experience of playing outside. It was different because before, for years, I just go outside and improvise.
Wow.
Play whatever I heard, kind of like whether it was, the car horns, the honking, or the train going by, airplanes, boat horns, dog barking, it all has a frequency, and through in musical terms, it registers as, some kind of like, raised A flat or something like that, or whatever it is. You just got to be paying attention. So, going out to playing outside has probably been the biggest aspect of the rewarding experience that music has allowed me to experience.
To tap into. And
Yeah.
it's really cool just to even hear about the approach to it, where it's the responsibility to express yourself and to bring that gift to the world. Like, and as you put it, like the shine your light, like that to me like hit different, because I mean personally, I even think about some of the stuff that I've been sleeping on where I'm just like, I shouldn't be doing that in public too, because it's like, because it's that call to action though, where it's just like yeah, dude, no, it's like that actually to me is the most logical aspect of it, because not only does even getting out give you the opportunity to practice in a different light, it's that really first initial fear that I feel like if you can overcome that, everything else just becomes that effortlessness again, because it's just like, all right, screw it, let's go have fun, doesn't matter, like, and that's when you start to enjoy the life, you start to play again. And that's something that, again, like so many people don't play anymore.
They don't play no more.
They don't.
That's a great point. I love that. They don't play no more. And there's a playing outside, it really, you're playing outside, and you're really reminded of that when when a kid walks up to you, a little 2-year-old or something, and they're just like looking up at you, and they're like, you start to like kind of dance, and you're like, wow, I'm a kid. Like, you have to, the humility, you have to like rid yourself of all of these like adultified, calcified, but adultified like elements of our nature. And you gotta let some of those things go and just be your true self outside. And what's really amazing is that it actually becomes addictive. The thrill of that, getting over that fear, it becomes something that you crave almost. And it's a very healthy addiction as a musician to, oh, I got to get outside. I got to get back out there. Oh, today's the day. Oh, it's sunny outside. Oh, got to go. Are you going? All right, bye. And I swear it becomes, and if you're really having a bad day and you're like, I don't know, guess what you could do? You can say, and this is the last of the last motivation. You could say, well, I might make $50. Hey, I could use $50, right? So the last of the last one, and the reason I say the last it's because it should be the last thing that's motivating you to get you out there.
Like that.
But guess what? It's the first for thousands of people who be on the highway at 6 a.m. in traffic driving to work. It be there first. And they, it's normalized, it's everybody goes, oh, well, yeah, another day, it's a Monday, back at it, like their duty, because they have this responsibility to make money. Money is a real ass motivator. So if you can put money behind what you are afraid to do, but it is your gift. Do that. Figure out how to put money behind so it motivates past your fears of what oh, I don't know. It's kind of nervous.
Yeah.
People do all kind of stuff for money and be nervous,
Right. And I guess the thing here is that aspect of just transitioning away, like from doing things for such material things and doing things more so for yourself. And I think that's something too, where it's, I think we've touched on it a few times, like that aspect of almost like worthlessness or low self-worth, and how a lot of people really, that's one of the biggest hurdles, is that they don't even care to be themselves because they don't really know who they are, So it's coming into this realm of loving yourself. Like self-love fully is that expression of doing things that make you happy. And when you can tie that creative expression in with like your passion for work or your drive, like it's a magical recipe. Well, I guess that's the next question I have for you is, how did you get into Krishnamurti? And I think that's just thing is, herbs is medicine, like these things that you're dropping, like you're definitely tapped into the more like, I think the energies that are breaking through versus the energies that are breaking down societally likewise. So it's pretty dope to see, like, I'm like, okay, this person's about to forward shit. Let's see what you
breaking through. Yeah, I've had a couple close breakdowns the past like year breakthrough and breakdown. You gotta turn them breakdowns and breakthrough player and bounce back. That's why. So Krishnamurti is the real deal. He's my favorite philosopher.
Love it.
Because Krishnamurti is cold. So first of all, he just gets straight to the point. He must got that gate 57 out displaying something, because Krishnamurti stick to the point. He ain't about getting on to people's feelings and letting them blur the facts and what other people think and no. I ain't having none of that. Yo, look, this is what it is. You are experiencing this event that you're looking at. You're watching something happen, right?
Yeah.
But what you also need to be watching is you watching something happen. Okay.
Yes.
And there's a relationship there. As the observer, you need to be observing yourself, observing the situation. So he really calls to this kind of internal relationship, this internal dialogue that needs to be tended to, needs to be aware of. And that's just so powerful to me, So Krishnamurti, just keeping it cold, hard, gutter facts, okay? And then B, too, he really has a way of breaking down all of the jumbleness that we get caught up in, but we're confused about, as you bring up the human experience as a spiritual being aspect. He speaks from that perspective, which I just so think is the answer to a lot of our problems as humans.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the one source of our truth that we're disconnected from, and almost taught to run away from it or dismiss it or claim it's like something woo-woo. And it's like, no, like I also I listened to a few of his talks early on in kind of my search, and it was that objective, just straight up realness, that it was just cutting through the noise, where it's just like
Yeah.
you're watching your thoughts. You're not your thoughts, you're watching them.
Yeah,
Like,
you
and
are
it's just
not
like it's like, huh. Well, what happens if I try that? And it's like, and it's that practical application of, I always like the timeless question of just like, can the observer be observed? And it's just like, I don't know, I guess I gotta try though. And that's how I went with it naturally. I was just like, oh, thank God I did that. Because some people get caught up in the concepts of it. It's like, no, let go of everything. Step back.
It's
Sink
not
within
you.
yourself and just watch.
Don't be your emotions. Just acknowledge them as like leaves falling from the tree or something. It's not you falling from the tree. It's just, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Facts. And I guess that's the avenue of, creative expression right there, is those that have come to fully or get to the point of, a certain depth of understanding of their pureness, that just pure observation, that pure being that we are, the intangible, eternal spiritual self, right?
Hey.
It's it's so amazing just to see all the old patterns that we used to do. Once you just recognize, it's like, oh, that's not me, and just to see how instantly stuff drops away. And those are what I don't think a lot of people are ready for in the coming years, months, whatever it's going to be, that stuff's going to pop off. But like, there's a lot of breaking down that's going to about to happen to a lot of people.
Identity crisis is people like, I thought this is who I was, but now they're saying this is who I was, and you're telling me I'm this person, but identity.
Well, again, I don't always want to thank people that have been on that search, because it takes a lot of courage to question the identity. It takes a lot of that courage and drive and curiosity to go against the norm and resist that, really just the comfortable water of contentment. It's so warm, it's so easy, but to go out in the cold, go out, in the weather, to literally face the elements, doing what you love and that creative expression, it takes a different type of self-love. And yeah, man, like, kudos to you for doing it and inspiring people, because that's always one of those things where it doesn't not inspire someone when you see someone playing out their heart like that, or dancing their dance. Like, it's going to inspire people, and I think that's the thing right there is, my first impression of you at the CTU was literally someone who's just like, new group, new people, new things, I'll do it. And you just, just to participate and kick it and like enjoy your time and then perform. It was one of those things where I was just like, oh snap, like, this is a person who is worthy of a spotlight, that needs to, like, people need to see that dance, because that's what's important nowadays, is actually finding people that are sincere and can get the depths and the necessity of community, of people who understand the importance of respecting that divine within each being. Like, that's where you're seeing someone who's gone beyond concepts and is actually like assimilating spiritual knowledge and truth and wisdom. And that's the shit that's like, historically, fight the good fight.
I heard that. Come on. I heard that. That's right.
That's dope, man. Well, other than that, you're clearly, someone who's well on the path of self-mastery. And, again, I just wanted to thank you for coming on Creatives Chat. Ty, I'm going to ask you to stick around. But with that,
thank you, sir.
Folks, thanks for tapping in. Roll the outro.
Thanks again to our sponsors for making this show possible. Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Raise your vibration and energize your life with specialized Fibonacci tuning forks to deepen meditations and empower self-healing. Get your vibrational sound tools for personal enhancement at energybodytuners.com.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I'll teach you everything you need to know about playing jazz piano like a pro with my 12-week online video course and downloadable guidebook, Jazz Piano Pro Essentials. Enroll today at jazzpianopro.com.
Thank you for joining us. Have a happy always. Yeah, wow, you are centered with the wings on your...
Oh, yeah, that's
it's divine.
Those wings are from the Losing My Religion music video.
Wow.
Yeah. Jose was the art director. My partner, Jose. He directed that. Art directed the video.
That's
That's dope.
well, I must say it's very iconic.
Yeah, the funny thing is I had never seen the music video, and I didn't recognize him when I first seen him. But the song, I was like, oh, I've kind of heard that song.
That concludes this episode of Creatives Chat. Thank you for watching. Join us every Thursday at 3:33 p.m. Pacific Daily Time as creative minds get together and chat about who knows what. View more episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Beautifully said.